last week or the week before, I got a message off Jake saying, should we do a marathon this year? I was like, really?
I have no running trainers. I have nothing to track my runs or plan my routes. I have no AirPods or anything to listen to anything whilst I'm running.
We're hybrid, mate.
We are going to chat about what we look for in a new client. Kind of like little things that when we're talking
money
and a long-term commitment.
The main problem in today's site is people just don't want to put effort in.
Don't just think about what you want now. Think about what you want in a week's time, in a month's time, in 6 months' time. Because that person you want to be, what do you think they would do in this situation?
This is what I say to everyone is if we do the whole process properly with coaching, fat loss, muscle building, whatever it might be that you're after, you won't need another coach again. You might want one for the accountability, but you won't need one.
The point of this whole coaching process isn't just to get you a set of abs for a photo shoot or to drop a bit of weight that you wanted to drop or whatever. It's not so that you're always going to be in condition. It's that so you're always going to be in control. 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake. All right, welcome back.
Fish and rice cake.
Fish and a rice cake. I'm Jake.
Jake.
Back with some non-sciencey, sometimes ranty, sort of fitness nutrition advice, help you wade through the crock of shit that's out there nowadays and hopefully help you get a result. But yeah, how you doing?
I'm alright, mate.
Good.
Not too bad. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I feel like the amount that we're talking about this marathon that we've said we're going to run before I've actually been on a run. I'm kind of setting myself up for a bit of a fall here.
Yeah. So just to give a bit of context to this, we did a podcast a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yes.
And I basically, we were just talking about our fitness goals and stuff like that. And I said I would love to run a marathon at some point. And then Jay was like, I'd like to do that. And I thought maybe in like fucking 2 years or something, we'll commit to doing it. Anyway, last week or the week before, I got a message off Jake saying, should we do a marathon this year? I was like, really? I was like, yeah, I didn't know if he was joking or not.
Do you know what it is, right? It's not because I want to do one. I don't. I'm the kind of person where I see someone out running and I'm like, why would you want to do that to yourself? Especially when it's hot outside. Like,
see, I enjoy running, but a marathon's different gravy.
But I'm not. I know I'm not going to enjoy it, but I also feel, and it might sound egotistical, but I do kind of think that, well, I feel like I can do it, but I don't want to be one of those people that sits there going, yeah, I could do that, but never actually do it. And it's kind of the same as like when I did the show last year. That was partly because I wanted to do it for the experience when I've got clients doing it, but also I've always been like, I reckon I could diet and get into that kind of shape, but I didn't want to just sit there and say I could. I was like, well, fuck it, let's actually put my money, put my, money, what is it, money where your mouth is, or
mouth where your money is.
Well, I don't know. Whatever, and actually do it. So it's kind of the same thing with the marathon. I'm like, do you know what? Let's just do it. Like, because I know I'm not going to enjoy it, but
mate,
I don't just want to sit there and be like,
it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. I've done a couple of half marathons.
Well, it is just running, though, isn't it?
It is just running. And do you know, like runner's maths, the other day I went out and did 7.5 kilometres.
Right.
And I was like, worked out, I was like, I just need to do that 5.6 times. Like, that was fairly comfortable. I can do that.
Yeah. And if we do it together, we'll have each other to chat to.
Yeah, we've not signed up to an official marathon.
No, I think we're just going to go and do one.
Only because we can't get, there's a few reasons that we won't go into detail today, but that we just couldn't nail down a date.
Yeah.
So we've got basically, I think we're doing it on the 20th or 21st of September, aren't we?
Something like that.
One of those 2 days on the Saturday. And we're just going to map out a route and just go and do it ourselves. We'll vlog it as well. I reckon we bring.
I think that's the other thing is like it'll just be we're going to vlog the whole process of training for it. So I'm going to try so the situation I'm currently in, I have no running trainers. I have nothing to track my runs or plan my routes.
Jake messaged me the other day and he was like, what do you use to like track your runs and stuff? I was like, Strava. I was like, what everyone uses.
Yeah.
He was like, what's this?
I have no AirPods or anything to listen to anything whilst I'm running. I have nothing.
To be fair, I don't listen to music.
Oh, do you not?
I used to.
I'd probably listen to a podcast, to be fair.
Yeah, I used to. And someone
David
said,
Goggins
go out. Yeah, burn all the boats. And someone just said, like, go out without your headphones on and just run. And I was like, oh, okay, sounds weird, but I'll give it a go because I've never done it before and I've done quite a lot of running. And it was nice. It was just like, it was actually peaceful, you know? And like, I actually found that I turned off quite a lot. And it's the only, because all day I'm sat looking at a screen. I'm listening to something, I'm watching YouTube, listening to a podcast, I'm doing check-ins, I'm doing content. So everything is like technology. So it's actually quite nice to go out and have nothing.
See, because I have run a fair bit in the past, so I'm not coming from a point of view where I've never run, but I think I could run a marathon. And I'm certainly I don't want to sound arrogant because I'm not saying that I think, I can do it easily and I'm going to smash a good time. Like, I don't think I'll be amazing at it, but I think I can just do the distance. And I remember when I have run in previous years, I like listening to something because I don't like listening to myself being out of breath because it reminds me I'm fucking putting some effort in with something. It reminds me that it's hard work. So I've always found music or just listening to something, it just helps detract from that. But like, I have run plenty of like 10Ks and stuff in the past. Like I used to run a lot when I was younger. Then when I was at uni, one of my housemates was quite like a very high standard runner, so I used to go out running with him a bit, and we'd do some decent. I'd try and keep up with him. He was definitely slowing it down, so I could keep up. And then like my brother did an ultra, and I did a couple of runs with him, just going out for a bit. So it's not like I
did an ultra.
He did up in Newcastle. I think it was like a 30-miler one.
Fair play.
And then I don't know, with having coached one of my clients, Sam, who's recently done a 50-mile ultra marathon over the Yorkshire Three Peaks, which is ridiculous. Like, I don't know whether because part of his training, he was just running marathons every Friday morning just to build up his mileage.
And he was just like normalised it for you.
And I'd message him at like 10 a.m. being like, "Hey mate, how's the week going?" He'd be like, "Yeah, pretty good. Just been out and done a marathon this morning, feeling pretty good. I'm gonna go out and do another 15K tomorrow." So I'm kind of like, well, fucking hell, like he makes it seem like nothing.
Yeah,
and it's not.
It's not though. It's not. I can guarantee you, mate. I mean, the thing is, it's gonna be interesting because I've done a couple of halves in the past, and with a half marathon, you always kind of you can push for a certain time and you can go for like a speed kind of element, which is what I did previously. And I did all right. I did it pretty quick, but you're really fucking going for it at times and it's hard.
Because I said to you, the pace that I remember having when I was running more at uni was like 10Ks I was doing them around 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I can't remember the exact time.
Yeah, it's good.
I have no frame of reference if that's good or that's bad.
Yeah, it's really good.
Apart from you saying that it's all right.
Well,
but you're not going to be able to maintain
minutes,
that.
You're not going to be able to maintain that. That's kind of less than 5 minutes per kilometre. And when I did the half marathon, I was averaging about 4:58, which is for me is for that distance is really good. But for us doing a marathon, we'll be much slower than that. Like. I think it's just about completion for us, like genuinely.
I will add as well. The only time I have done long distance running was when I was in school and I passed out and I pulled out the race and sat down on the side just like hyperventilating. Nah. But that was like early high school kind of thing where I'd never done a long distance run before. I was always just like sprint. I have done a lot more since that.
It's just about fueling and stuff properly. Like you know all the nutrition around it, so you'd be fine. But
it'd just be a laugh.
Yeah, and like fuck it, like it's good. It'll be good content. We'll vlog the day. We'll take the camera with us as we're doing it and stuff like that. So it'd be good. And it's also one of the things that you just, I don't know, I like a challenge. Do you know what I mean? I like a challenge.
That's what I mean. It just gives me something like a little bit of a goal to push towards.
So, yes, like keeps you fit.
And also, like I was thinking, certainly because my main goal at the minute is building my strength up with my main lifts and putting some more size on. It'd be good to do this content from a point of view and showing that running doesn't make you small. Like you're not going to just instantly lose muscle because 100%. You're doing it. Like you can work around it. So I'm going to try and do it a lot from that point of view of, okay, well I am doing a lot of running, but this is what I'm doing with nutrition and training. Yeah. To still be gaining a bit of weight, to still be trying to put some size on, get a bit stronger, those kind of things. Yeah.
Well, I put my first YouTube vlog up the other day and I was like talking about obviously the marathon and shit. And I was saying in that, like, primarily, I still just want to look good. Yeah. Like, maintain muscle, if not build some muscle tissue whilst I'm doing this marathon prep. So again, it's to show people it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like you can do two things at the same. We're hybrid, mate. We're
hybrid. And also, I think right or wrong, you might laugh at me here, but if I ever go for like a long car drive, like if we're going down to Nottingham for the shoot or I go to Birmingham for a shoot, when I'm on my way home, if I say Leeds, 26 miles away, in my head I'm like, basically home now. So I'm like, 26 miles, it isn't that far. It's like that in a car. So
right, everyone remember this conversation when we're doing the marathon and Jake's nearly dead. And I'm vlogging it. You can come back and laugh at him, okay?
Yeah, it's gonna be like Run Fat Boy.
I just think it's incredibly like. I know what you're saying. Like it doesn't sound like much. I do genuinely understand that. And I was the same when I did a half marathon. I was like, half marathon, like I can do that. I've been out and done loads of 10Ks, just doubling that basically. But you do get to a certain distance, and your body's just like, fuck this. Like honestly, mate, like it will hit. It'll be hard. It'll be really, really tough.
But then I also think you've got like Russ Cook that ran more than a marathon a day for like nearly a full year through Africa. So I'm like, if I can't even do one marathon.
Oh yeah, like you can do it. Like, and a lot of it is mind over matter, right? Yeah. You know it's going to be painful. You know it's going to be brutal. You know you're going to be in pain for a couple of days after, but that's it, really.
Yeah. I think I'm going to come at this in the most arrogant way I can, just so it's going to be even funnier when the reality sets in of what we're actually doing and how difficult it is. Because we'll be able to like clip this now from this episode in like
put it into
2-3 months
the
time.
vlog. Put it into the
when I'm
marathon
running.
vlog. Yeah, we'll put it into the
calling it now.
vlog.
This is going to be easy. I will not struggle at all.
I'm calling it now. It's not going to be. And we will struggle.
Yeah, but it'll be good fun. We'll get on with it. But you've started, because I'm not starting running until July. I've put out like a 12-week plan.
I've done a 16-week.
And you've already been running half marathons, and you're doing 16 weeks.
I mean, when was my half marathon? March, I think it was. Not really around since then.
Yeah.
So I've done run the bases there.
Yeah.
Definitely needs to get a bit more efficient. Like, I'm heavy at the moment. I feel heavy on my feet. So like that's why I'm going on a couple of holidays as well. So I want to lose a few kilograms, but it will also make me a more efficient runner because I'm 90 kilos at the moment, which is a lot. So if we can drop down to about 84, 85, I know I'll look lean there, which is great, and I'll be more efficient.
How flat's Manchester on the whole? Right. Leeds is not flat.
Yeah,
everywhere I run, from even just leaving I've been to on my first vlog.
Fucking hills everywhere.
On my first vlog, I'm gonna do a video of it. Just to get out of my front door and onto the road, it's like a ski slope. It's literally like that. Like when it snows, we cannot get out with the car. We have to abandon the car.
Well, this is because we're gonna have to map out the route, and so I think we do the Manchester Marathon.
Okay, yeah.
We'll just get the route from the Manchester Marathon, put it into Strava, put it into the maps, drive to the start, just do it.
Yeah. Easy. Easy. I'll do it tomorrow. What if I just don't train and I just rock up on the day?
I mean, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Anyway, we best crack on.
Yeah, so what else are we talking about?
So we are going to chat about what we look for in a new client. Kind of like little things that when we're talking...
Loads of money. No, I'm joking.
And a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
No. Upfront payments like some coaches do. No. Yeah, spend $1,000 for the first 3 months and not get a result. Cheers, mate. So, no, because there are a couple of things that, like, when we're talking to new clients and working with new clients in the first weeks, like, we can tell whether or not this is going to... And don't get me wrong, sometimes people can surprise us, sometimes, but, like, both ways they can surprise us. But for the most part, there's certain things that we can pick up on where we're like, yeah, I think this person's going to do really, really well. Client. Yeah. So we wanted to go through what they were, so you've got a good idea of what you kind of need to be looking to do, whether it's with us or by yourself or with someone else, if you do want to get a fat loss, physique, muscle gain result. Because the same applies to either end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me, and we've spoken about this loads on other episodes, is that they don't live in the moment. So they're not just like doing things on a whim of, oh, I know we had my targets for this week, but my mates have just invited me out for a meal tonight, so how can we work this in? And it's kind of like, depending on the goal, well, no, we've got a plan. Stick to it. Don't just live in the moment. Don't just think about what you want now. Think about what you want in a week's time, in a month's time, in 6 months' time. Because that person you want to be, what do you think they would do in this situation?
Yeah, like I say to a lot of my clients when they first start, I say, like, the person you want to be, the person, like, how you want to look, how you want to feel, like, and again, something I'll say to a lot of my clients is, daft as it sounds, is like, you don't want fat loss, like, you want the stuff that comes with it. So I want you to know what that is. It's like the confidence and stuff like that. For example, Evan, who's just done a photo shoot. When I first started working with Evan, he wouldn't even look me in the eyes having a conversation. He had no confidence at all. And even his wife messaged the other day saying he's just a different person now, to the point where he was in the gym the other day doing a photo shoot with his fucking top off, and there was other people in there. So anyway, like, without getting too deep, like, know what you want to get out of it just beyond like fat loss or muscle building, because there's always deeper layers to it. But actually, once you know that, so I like to say, well, what would that person, what's the traits of that person, right? Adopt those habits now to the best of your ability. You're not going to ingrain them now. Try and adopt them. So that person wouldn't do what you've just said, for example.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me when I'm looking at a potential client, or like if I'm speaking to someone on a call, and they'll say to me, oh, like, do you provide me exactly what to eat and stuff? And I'm like, that for me, it's not a red flag, because it's then my job as a coach to then educate that person around the ins and outs of how coaching actually works. But the best clients with that should have out come in looking to learn, and actually they've probably tried those routes before. They've probably tried the meal plans, not really worked. They've probably done like the aggressive shake style diets, whatever it might be, not really worked. Maybe they got some short wins off it, but they've never really got the thing that they were after. So they've probably tried a few things. So now they're at the point where they're like, no, I actually need to learn about this nutrition stuff properly. And they're open to learning about it, because coaching isn't, we're not going to hold your hand. not in the way you think. You know, we're not going to tell you.
We're not going to spoon feed you.
Exactly. We're not going to tell you exactly what to do every minute of every single day. But what we are going to do is enable you with the right amount of targets you need and the right amount of knowledge you need at that moment in time. But over time, progress you to a point where, and again, this is what I say to everyone, is if we do the whole process properly with coaching, fat loss, muscle building, whatever it might be that you're after, you won't need another coach again. You might want one for the accountability, but you won't need one. So you've got to be open. For me, you've got to be open to learning.
Yeah, and I think that sort of comes along the lines of like what we don't look for in a new client is someone who knows shitloads about nutrition, knows shitloads about training. That is like the last thing we're bothered about, because we can teach you that stuff really easily. Yeah. It is more the mindset of behind it, of being willing to take responsibility for your own food choices, for your meal choices, be willing to, like you said, learn a little bit more, plan things out a little bit more, think about what you're doing.
Start putting some actual effort in.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and as daft as it sounds, I was listening to a podcast the other day with a guy who's like a top nutritionist, and everything he was saying was what we say, which was really was nice to hear. But he just said, like, the main problem in today's society is people just don't want to put effort in. And like, unfortunately, like, having a coach is one of the best things you'll ever do, like, hands down. And I'm talking from a perspective of me having my own coaches. But it's only great if you're willing to put you've got to hold up your end of the bargain as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just going to do everything for you. You've got to be able to put the effort in. And something we say, again, with our kind of expectations is take responsibility for your own results. We'll give you everything you need, but you have to put you have to put the effort in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It is that, because like, and the analogy I sort of use with people a lot when I talk to them about it is like the nutrition targets and the training plans and the stuff that people generally ask for when they're coming in, because obviously it's stuff that we're doing. It is important, but it's like the parts of a car that you need. I know fuck all about cars, so I could butcher this analogy.
Fucking rubbish at cars.
But it's kind of like the suspension on a car, like the exhaust. Like, it's stuff that you need and it's important, but it's not.
Do you need that stuff? Yeah,
I think so. I'll take it off mine later. I'll let you know. But it's not the thing that makes the car go. Like, the thing that makes the car go, the engine, is your mindset behind it, how you approach things, and how you're willing to actually. I don't want to use the word commit, because that makes people think you need to be 100% perfect, prioritize it over everything else, but actually just fully engage in the process and be willing to actually do what's required in terms of planning ahead for events or sacrificing a couple of things here and there. Yeah. And like we were saying, thinking about, okay, I'm not going to become the person I want to be just by having a set of abs. I'm actually going to have a set of abs by becoming that person that I want to be. Like, you need to have that mindset shift first for the physical shift to happen.
100%.
I think people think it's the other way around.
Yeah, and actually, I think, like, literally, as daft as it sounds, like 90% of coaching is, I think people think it's going to be training and nutrition. And it is, obviously, like, you know, because without that, you're not going to get very far. But I actually think that's 10% of it, as daft as it sounds. Like, the vast majority of coaching is coaching the person's understanding of things and coaching them through normal life and like, if it was just training and nutrition, you can get all of that stuff free online. Like, that's not why you've got a coach. You've got a coach to get you through those tough weeks, to help you understand things, to help you change your mindset and your approach to the way that you go about your training and your nutrition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I making sense of that? Yeah.
But that's like when someone comes in, those are the things we look for. Okay, how is this person going to take accountability for their own results here? How are they going to take the targets and run with them? Are they actually going to, when we go through their plan for the week, are they going to stick to that plan and run with it? Or if something goes wrong, are they going to be like, okay, this is going on, how can we work around it? You know, anything like that. Or is it a case of, well, because we'll have it sometimes. I know sometimes giving targets to certain people through the week, I'll be like, I don't even think they're going to stick to this, or I bet I'll get a check-in next week saying, oh, well, I was planning to do this, but then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. Those are the people that do struggle, because it's just, like I said, it's sort of living in the moment. What do I want now? Forget about what I actually want down the line. What do I want now? Oh, well, I'll satisfy that, and I'll put everything else on the back burner. Yeah,
exactly that. It's that ability to practice delayed gratification in it. You know, understand that what you want in that moment isn't conducive to your goals longer term. If you're going into coaching, if you're wanting to achieve a transformation, whatever that transformation looks like, feels like for you individually, Like, you should already be in that position anyway, I think, to understand that you're going to have to sacrifice some things. Yeah. But yeah, so there's things that, and as I say, as our job as coaches is to coach you through this and educate people through this. So it's not just like, it doesn't just happen overnight. Yeah. But it's, there's certain things that we pick up on, aren't there? I don't want to call them red flags, because that's not what they are, but there's things that we're like, okay, this is good.
I think they're just the things to address, because like, we don't expect people to come in with the perfect mindset. Yeah. Like, it's very rare that that's going to happen. But at least if we can identify, okay, well, actually, they're probably going to do well, because I think that over time we can get these sort of behaviours and traits in them that they're already showing signs of anyway. Yeah. We just need to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, and they're open to learning. They're open to it. They're open to the process. Of actually getting into shape. Yeah.
Because I did literally last week, one of my clients, up until this point, for her, we've had a meal plan, because that's just how she's always worked. That's what she was comfortable with. So when she came in, I was like, all right, cool. We'll do that to start with, and then over time we're going to build out of it. And she messaged me the other day saying, I'm getting a bit bored of the meal plan, fed up of the meals, can we change things up? So instead of me just being like, yeah, cool, leave it with me, I'll write you a new meal plan, which would do no good long term, because again, it's just her not having to think about things and just relying on something else. I said to her, right, I want you to go away, I want you to plan out what this meal plan could be, track it all in MyFitnessPal, and I want you to send it over to me. And she did it, she planned it all out, she sent it over, it was perfect. And I was like, great, you know what you're doing. Go and follow. If that's what you want to do, go and follow that. I was like, but you don't need me to tell you exactly what foods to eat, because you've just shown me that you know what you're doing now. So you don't need a meal plan. Yeah, you've got your targets. We know what to do. All we need to do now is keep consistent with the targets, and whatever comes up during that, we can work in and be open with it and whatnot. But that's it. And she was like, cool, fantastic, because now she's got a little bit more control. Like, it's just control over.
100%. And again, like, our job is to enable you. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to get you to a point where you don't rely on us. Yeah. And that's really important to understand. Now, in the early stages, you might rely on us a bit more, and that's completely fine. But then as time progresses, we want to get you to a point where you're self-reliant almost. So sometimes the client will message me and be like, hi, Jake, I'm doing this. What do you recommend? And I will say, and I don't think they're expecting me, but I'll be like, what do you think you should do? And I'm like, and they're like, I think I should do this. I'm like, cool, that's the right answer. Go and do it.
Yeah. It's almost, I said this to one of my clients after his photo shoot the other week. It was quite good, if I do say so myself, because we were talking about like the rebound after a photo shoot and putting a bit of body fat back on and being okay with that. And I was kind of like, the point of this whole coaching process isn't just to get you a set of abs for a photo shoot or to drop a bit of weight that you wanted to drop or whatever. It's not so that you're always going to be in condition. It's that so you're always going to be in control. So that whatever happens, whether you're lean at that current time or you're not, because you've had a couple of holidays or you've been in a gaining phase, you're always in control of what your body composition's doing, and you're always only ever X amount of weeks away 100%. From being in the condition that you want to be in. That's what's more important, is having 100%. The control over the condition.
100%. And I had a message from a client who, Nathan, and he messaged me, and it was his 30th birthday, I think, like literally just a couple of weeks back. And he messaged me, we've finished coaching almost a year ago or whatever, and I've just managed to get myself back into that same condition through everything you gave me. And it's like, that's literally exactly what I want for all my clients. Yeah. Like, he could have come back to me, like, maybe for the accountability, but he was like, no, I can do this. I've got the knowledge. I've got the understanding. Yeah. Jake showed me how to do it, so I can do it. Yeah. And he was like, I can't thank you enough, because, and again, he came to me though, and I remember the first call was just like, this guy's going to be brilliant, because he's tried all the other stuff. He's tried everything else. It didn't work for him. He was like, I need to learn how to do this properly. And he committed to learn, and he was like, every single week he was like, fucking hell, like, I'm loving this, what you're giving me. And no, I wasn't giving him, in my eyes, like magic, but to him it was. Do you know what I mean? And now he's got it, and he's got that forever. Yeah. That's what we want for everyone.
It's literally that, innit? So that's what we look for. It is just open-mindedness and a willingness just to not be perfect. No, you're never going to be perfect, but just a willingness.
That's a big one, actually. Just to finish off, like, we do not expect you to be perfect, and I'll say that to my clients. Actually, I'd rather take someone coming in who is probably expecting to be perfect and show them that they don't have to be. Yeah. That's the ideal scenario for me. But we don't want you to be perfect. Like, you just need to be consistent, and that ability to just be able to chip away over time. Because if you try and be perfect, with all the will in the world, it ain't going to happen. And then you're always going to set yourself up for failure anyway. Yeah. So we don't want you to be perfect. Coming into something like this and expecting to be just naive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally that, isn't it? So we'll round that one up there, and we'll go on to the physique fuck up for this episode. Yeah. And there was a video, I don't know how old the podcast episode is, it's fairly recent, and I did a reel on it the other day, but basically, the guy who literally wrote the book on the carnivore diet, Paul Saldino, I think.
Saldino, yeah.
Yeah. He's been on a podcast recently, and I'm not going to play the entire...
This is the guy who started all this stuff, really.
I'm not going to play the entire clip because it's like a 5-minute clip, so I'll just do a quick, 30 seconds.
The backstory here is that, I guess in 2018, I cut out all the plants from my diet and basically ate meat, organs, and fat for close to 2 years. Mm-hmm. During that time, I wrote the Carnivore Code, got interested in this carnivore diet, got interested in the potential for some plant foods to trigger autoimmunity in some people, which is kind of that's my framework, because I had pretty bad eczema for a long time in my life, and I had bad eczematous reactions throughout medical school, college, even residency, that spurred me to think about this idea, like, are all plants good for all people? Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of these ideas around the carnivore diet. Now, the end of that story, or the next chapter of the story, was about 2 years into the carnivore diet. I started noticing persistence of unpleasant symptoms. So testosterone dropped to around 500 total, sleep disturbances, palpitations, muscle cramps when I was surfing or climbing.
He goes on to say that he started noticing all these symptoms. He wasn't well. His hormones, his blood work was getting worse and worse. And he's basically come off the carnivore diet. Now, what he does go on to say, which is even more frustrating, is that he's basically reintroduced plants back into his diet and honey and fruit, and now he's on the animal diet. So he's basically just rebranded the same thing. He's just introduced plants. And you know for a fact he's going to write a book called The Animal Code in a couple of months, because he's literally just marketing. But he is the guy that wrote the book on the carnivore diet and was preaching about it on Joe Rogan podcast. I think he's the guy that got Joe Rogan to go carnivore. Yeah. And he's now turned around and he's saying, oh yeah, it's probably not the best thing for people. And the whole reason he did it, and this is when we talk about like people's personal bias and almost like emotional attachments to ways of eating, and that's why they push it on so many people, because he had really, really bad eczema when he was younger. And when he started pulling all these plants out of his diet, he noticed that his eczema got loads better, which is great, like really nice. But he then started to think from that, pushing the idea that plants are bad for people and you don't need them, because he had this response where he cut them out and his skin got better. But it's like, but that doesn't mean that all plants are bad for all people. Like, that's such a extreme jump. Yeah. And the fact that now he's backtracking after having written books on it.
It's fucking crazy. He started a whole trend, really.
Literally.
Like, you've got people like fucking Liver King, all these fucking crazy bastards who all go, full carnivore. And we're, like you say, it's what we talk about all the time. Like, it shouldn't be so extreme in one way. It shouldn't be, for me, again, it shouldn't be all plant-based. It shouldn't be all carnivore. Like, you just have to, it's so fucking boring to say, but you have to find moderation and like what works for you. And this is just him saying that and almost kind of backtracking on what he created. And now he's created a monster, because there's fucking loads of like
literally
people out there.
But I think that's the problem, like with diets like this, there isn't the longitudinal studies on it to show what the long-term like health implications are.
Yeah, I think the reason that these things work as well, and is because what we do is obviously we try and provide people an education. They can eat anything, really, and they should be eating everything within moderation, and you should be eating protein and fiber and all this kind of good shit, right? So we tell them the stuff they need to hear. But again, based on our episode just gone, that takes a little bit of learning, right? Yeah. So it's too much effort for people. Whereas people want to be told, no, just eat this one type of food, and that's simple to follow. Yeah, it's like the carnivore's really easy to follow, because you don't have to think about anything. But by doing that, you probably will get some short-term results, because you're cutting out complete food groups and you're just sticking to one food group, which is very satiating, very filling. So you are going to lose a bit of weight, a little bit of body fat. But is that really something you can do long-term? I would say 99.9% of people, especially normal humans, they can't fucking stick to that.
No.
So it's just stupid, and this is what we literally just what we're saying on our whole episode. Like, learn the process properly rather than doing these stupid things. And like, okay, it's going to take a bit more effort in the short term, but in the long term, you'll benefit from that.
Yeah, and it's just mad, innit, that it's just recently coming out. Like, you had the whole Liver King with him, obviously everyone finding out, unsurprisingly, taking a shitload of gear.
Fuck ton of gear.
Yeah, so not actually doing what he's been preaching he's doing for so long. And now, because that's a lie, you're kind of like, well, what else is he fucking lying about? Even in his latest videos.
They all come and go, mate.
Even in his videos, now he's filming, he's sat eating, saying, oh, I'm eating this heart and I'm eating liver and testicles and all this. But if you don't want to eat like this, buy my protein powder. And it's like, well, that's not the message you're putting out. You're obviously just selling. Like, you're creating a gimmick, a character to push your products.
Of course it is.
And now you've got the guy with the carnivore diet saying it's probably not a good thing for people long term. It's like, there's no surprised to any of this.
Well,
It is just moderation.
A lot of these
it's
people,
the Bitcoin of the nutrition world,
yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
exactly it. And they'll make the money and they'll disappear. And you see it quite often. Like, I guarantee in 1 or 2 years, and I think it's already started to turn a little bit, but Eddie Abu, obviously huge at the moment. He's got fucking 3.5 million followers on Instagram, now, which is insane. But I do think it's turning already on him a little bit. I guarantee in a year or two, he'll be gone.
Yeah.
He'll be gone. Like, 100% he'll be gone. And as will a lot of other people. It's just stupid, and like we'll still be there preaching about the same stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it works. Shock horror.
Yeah, so that's another one, another one and done.
Yeah.
So we'll call it there.
Tuning in, like, subscribe, X, Bebo, Facebook,
all of them. If you don't have them, create accounts, share us on it, and go from there.
Tell your mum.
Yeah.
Tell your gram.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers, guys.
Catch you in the next one.